Hello, this is Rob, your stretch therapy coach. I want to talk about our tightest muscle, at least the tightest muscle I found with majority of my clients, both one-on-one and in groups. It's the hip flexor. It's our hip flexor. We tend to overuse our hip flexor when we walk. We tend to underuse our glutes for extension. A lot of tension builds up in the hip flexor. Also, when we're seated, our hip flexor shorten. When we're running, we're playing, our hip flexor gets shortened. So let me kind of turn to the sides. I'm gonna bring one knee up. So this is flexion of the hip. So I'm decreasing the angle in front of the hip. That being said, we need to do the opposite to stretch. We need to go into extension. So we need something that's soft and cozy for your knee. That way you're not distracted by any discomfort on the knee itself. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, that's okay. You can use a pillow, a sweater, a hoodie. You can fold something up. We're gonna place that under one knee. And this is the side that we're stretching. Now, I'm going to show you different positions, and then I'll break it down on how you progress it. So I'll show you the stretch first, and then I'll show you multiple techniques depending on what level you're at. So I'm going to place one knee down to something that's soft and cozy, other foot forward. Now we're going to want our front knee bent, front knee over the heel, give or take, no tension to the toes. For example, we don't want to be in kind of this sprinter position. So I'm going to bring one foot forward. Now I notice, particularly when I start a new group program, a lot of people get stuck in this position right here. They're kind of unbalanced. They don't know what to do. We need to bring this hip forward and allow some extension of the hip. So what I recommend to do is to start off hands to the floor. We're going to walk the hands forward, dropping the hips forward and down. Now we have some extension of the hip. With our hands to the floor, now we can easily adjust the front foot. Remember, front knee over the heel, no tension to the toes, ball of the foot. Now, if you're unable to do this, for example, you're back here, what are you going to do to start? You're just going to pulse pull the hips forward and down. These little 2-second contractions help with the elasticity of the joint. Then eventually, over time, you can pull the hips forward and down, slide that back leg back. And even if you're in this position, now you can even pulse pull the hips forward and down. Now watch out we don't rotate to the outside of the hip. Now it's not a hip flexor stretch. So to help with that, we can push your hips to the side your front foot is forward. So if your left foot is forward, you're gonna pulse pull the hips to the left. If your right leg is forward, you're gonna pulse pull the hips to the right. So there's a good place to start. Now if this is easy breezy for you, since you're leaning towards that front knee, now you can walk your hands up your front knee to get higher up. These muscles connect all the way up to our mid-spine, thoracic spine. Now watch out when you walk the hands up the knee, you do not push yourself back because now we're losing the stretch here on this back hip. Keep the hips forward and down. As we lengthen these muscles may want to pull us back down like a slingshot. So that's why you're holding onto your knee for balance to help relax those automatic stabilizers of the spine. Now, if this is too easy for you, what we can do, the arm on the side that we're stretching, we can reach that arm up and into the opposite direction. I'll just pivot so you can see we're keeping our hips forward, we're reaching up and over. If this is too easy, you can drop that opposite hand to the floor. Remember, keep the hips forward and down. When we're all done, we can bring the hands back to the knee, bring the hands to the floor. I'll pivot back to the side so you can see a little bit better. Hands to the floor. Now from there, we can walk our hips and our hands back to the kneeling position. And with that front leg, we can stand on up. We're gonna walk around, see how that feels. And of course, we'll do the same thing other side. Knee down, something that's soft and cozy, other foot forward. Let's bring our hands to the floor. Walk the hips forward and down. Front knee over the heel, give or take, no tension to the toes. And if you're just starting off, maybe your hips are back here. Those muscles won't lengthen yet, so we're just gonna walk the hands forward, pulse, pull the hips forward and down. Eventually we can pull them all the way down. Now we don't wanna rotate to the outside of the hip, so remember we're pushing your hips to the side your front foot is forward. To the right, if the right leg is forward, or to the left if the left leg is forward. These little 2-second contractions help with the elasticity of the joint, increase blood flow into the muscle. So you can even use these little pulses as a warm-up for your run, or if you're squatting. If that's too easy, you can now walk the hand up the knee. Remember, keep the hips forward and down. don't push yourself back and out of the stretch. Hold onto your knee for balance. If that's too easy, you're gonna reach up on the side that you're stretching, reach up. If that's too easy, you can lean in the opposite direction of the stretch. And from there, we can bring the hands down to the knee and hands to the floor. And from there, we can walk the hands on back. And then from there, you're gonna stand up, walk around, see how that feels. And as always, my goal is you feel better after the stretch than when you started. So there you go. That's how you stretch your hip flexor. There's multiple progressions there. We could do a dynamic movement just to loosen things up. As things are uber tight, we can hold in that position, the hold relax technique, and then we can extend our lever, walking the hand up and reaching that up. Please let me know if any questions. Have an amazing day. Enjoy the sunshine.